participation, right? It's not just that participation is a tactic in Steve's magic. It's almost like Steve's magic is a tactic in Steve's participation, right? So everything he does is based on that, and you can really feel the way it informs every routine. Who really wants to make stuff happen with people out there in the universe, you know, without breaking into their phone with it, they're knowing their PIN code secretly or any other weird, odd Eastern European app magic. Was that off topic?
No, not at all.
I saw it go live on the internet, and you know, all of a sudden I started to, like, you know, share inappropriate details about myself.
Your mouth was sweaty with words.
But Steve, would you say that I got that wrong, or is that?
I definitely, you know, that was actually pretty right on how I think about it. I really use magic as a vehicle, right? Like a singer uses a song as the vehicle, right, to get something across. I use the magic to get people to really participate and engage and really be part of it. So it's not just about watching something, it's using it to get them to be a part of it.
And the exciting thing that everyone should, that you can get out of what we're going to watch today, and this is really amazing, is that when you learn Steve's trick, when you learn anyone's trick, you actually get a little piece. It's like a Horcrux, right? You get a little piece of that person. So by doing Steve's trick the way Steve built it, you actually will develop that aspect of yourself, right? Which you can add to everything you're doing, right? So it's a real opportunity to take one simple trick and make everything you do just convey audience engagement so much more, you know? Participate is such a sterile magic word, right? As opposed to engage, which is really what Steve is trying to do.
I agree.
Why don't we go ahead and watch it, and then we can talk about it?
Yeah, no doubt. All right, so we'll check it out here. This is Mr. Steve Barcelona showing us.
This is pretty old, isn't it?
Yeah, it's pretty old. Yeah,
pretty old.
But this is a stellar routine. Let's check it out.
At least you don't have that weird facial hair. Look at that. Terrible.
Back in the old
Steve Barcelona, how are you, sir?
I am well.
Are you going to share with us a trick tonight that was all the rage at 3M Live at the Conjuror Community Summit?
This is a fun little thing, man. I'm actually going to pull in a Alexander Slemmer. I think he might be here, and I have 2 cameras tonight.
He is. It looks like he made it. Wow.
Okay.
Hi, Alex Slemmer. Welcome.
He made it. He made it. Let me see. Where are we? Okay, here we go. All right. So, that's actually pretty good, isn't it? Can you guys see that pretty well?
Yeah, it looks great.
Right? Okay, so I'm going to show you my famous 2-coin trick. And I call it that because it uses 2 coins. I have a Chinese coin, and I think you can actually see that pretty well in a silver coin. If you can see that there. Over here I have that so these people can see over here. Now, if I put these into this hand here and I take out the Chinese coin, I put it on the back of my hand so you can see it, and I place it in my pocket. Real simple. How many coins are in my hand? Aaron, how many coins are in my hand?
I want to say 1 coin.
Oh, I messed up. I'm sorry. There's, I messed up. I apologize. There's 2. I got to get it right. I haven't done this in a while. Take the Chinese coin, put it in my pocket. How many coins are in my hand, Aaron?
I would say 1 coin in your hand, a Chinese replica in your pocket.
Why can't I get this right? I'm sorry about that. I keep kind of messing up.
How is it happening?
One more time. Out comes the Chinese coin into my pocket. Again, how many coins are in my hand?
1. Rosemary, what do you think? Oh, good call.
1.
Okay.
No!
This isn't working out like I had planned. Let's change it up and take out the silver coin this time. Place it into my pocket. Rosemary, how many coins are in my hand?
1.
Maybe we'll do a card trick. Would that be better if we go to a card trick, something like that?
Wizardry!
Oh.
Steve, that is so wonderful. That couldn't get any more practical. That couldn't get any more usable, real world, ready to go.
Yeah, I broke my own rule there and I went 1 phase too many. But it doesn't matter. You know, it literally doesn't matter. It's such a great trick. It's always in my pocket. It's one of those things I learned so long ago, and I just never stopped doing it. I mean, it just literally comes down to I just never stopped. So
Can't
originally
stop, won't stop.
What's that?
I'm so sorry. It's absolutely nothing. Please continue. You're doing so great.
Rosemary has Tourette syndrome.
I would appreciate that.
My nickname is Tourette's. That's what my friends call me.
So it actually comes from a Carl Andrews VHS. That's how old it is. But I've completely changed the handling on it because I don't like, he teaches it using a classic palm. So when you're transferring the coins, he holds that coin back in a classic palm. And it's just not a comfortable palm for me. It's not something I like. So I do it with a finger palm. I think it makes it look way more natural. And then I got a couple little touches on it. So let me take you through it real quick. So what you need is, you need 3 coins. Let me see, where's my camera? Here it is. Whoa! There it is, 3 coins. So I have 2 coins. Usually I do coppers and a silver. Tonight I grabbed 2 fake Chinese coins, like I doubt you can spend these in China, and a silver, okay? So they live in this pocket here, and I'm gonna give another plug to this because everyone talked about this at 3M. This is a little thing I got from Kainoa Harbottle. It's called the PMS, Pocket Management System. And the big thing about this trick was stopping the coins from talking when you put them in your pocket. That's the biggest thing. Because when you go to your pocket, if they talk, then it ruins everything, right? Because people know
it's called the PMS.
It is the Pocket Management System. That is correct.
Just checking. Okay.
That's it, the PMS. That is right. I didn't name it. It just worked.
But you shared it with us, and that's enough.
How long
have you had PMS?
I've had the PMS for over a year. Yeah. And I've enjoyed it. I've actually enjoyed it, which is
How often do you have the PMS?
I carry it with me all the time.
Right.
I'm permanently PMS.
We have certainly wrung as much as it's in there out of that. Okay, so pocket and
so we come out of our pocket with the 3 coins, and I just hold back, and sometimes I even look and hold back 1 coin in this hand like that in finger palm. Okay, and then I want to have the the duplicate coin in finger palm in the other hand. Now here's the thing. I am pretty comfortable holding out in like a Ramsey subtlety kind of thing. I think touching that pinky right there really, instead of doing this, I think letting that pinky touch also allows you to point very naturally. But here's the thing, it's tension is the thing. If you're holding out like this, you can see that tension across the internet, right? I mean, you could see that I'm like holding out. But if you're just lackadaisically holding out, look, I mean, it's just like, loosey-goosey, no one's even going to look at the other hand. Plus, they have no reason to suspect there's another coin in play. So I'm holding out here, and I'll say, I'm going to show you my 2-coin trick. It uses 2 coins. And it's real important that you want to show the coins to these people over here. So you don't want to just throw it over to the other hand. You want to have a reason to do that. And the reason is to show the coins to these people here. So you have the 2 coins. You shuttle pass them over and you show them over there as you kind of stand up, and this hand just kind of swings, and I'm holding out here now. Right? So they look at the 2 coins, and the beauty of this is there's no gimmick coins. When I extend my hand like this, if someone wants to pick one up, okay, we're just waiting now till you give it back to me, There's nothing, there's nothing to worry about. When it comes time to bring them back, I just put them back under my hand like this. Now, of course, it works a lot easier if I do it at speed. And so what happens now is I know the coin next to my hand is going to be the duplicate coin, or in this situation, the Chinese coin. So then I'll take that out of my hand and I'll hold it on the back of my hand just for a second. I'll say, if I take the Chinese coin and put it in my pocket, how many coins are in my hand? Now, here's the thing. You don't take your hand out of your pocket. Okay? Because if you take your hand out of your pocket and you're holding out now, and someone says, what's in your other hand? Which, I mean, it could happen. It hasn't happened in a while, but maybe that's because I never take this hand out. Because if they were to say nothing, if they were to say, what's in your other hand? You go, nothing. And then we just go to the end. Okay? Which I'll get to in a second. But generally, if I'm just holding it here, I put this coin in my pocket and I say, how many coins are in my hand? Rosemary, how many coins are in my hand?
1.
1. oh, darn it, I messed up. So here's the thing. I used to go, no, it's 2, where you're not paying attention. And so I changed that away kind of a while ago. I kind of flopped back and forth because I did it one way for so long. But generally, my philosophy is I don't like to put it on the spectator that they made a mistake. I like to put it on that I made a mistake. So generally, as that coin comes back, I go, oh, I screwed up. I'm sorry. There's still 2 there. It's still the same 2 you saw over here. Okay?
That's so awesome.
Because then it makes it on me instead of on you.
Way better.
Right? Way better. So then I put these back in again. I go, let's try it again. I'll take out the Chinese coin again. And because it'll be the one next to my hand, on the inside of my hand, next to my fingers, it's always easy to pull it out and know that's what that's going to be. And I say, I put this in my hand, and we're going to go for another phase and see how many coins are in my hand, Rosemary.
1.
You know, I can't get this right. I apologize. I practiced it at home and went really well. I'm sorry. Let's do it one more time. Chinese coin into my pocket. How many coins are in my hand? Now you notice I pulled my hand out because I ditched. Okay, so now I ditched and it's there. Rosemary, how many coins? You'll say 1, you'll say 2. It doesn't matter what you say. And then you're like, darn it, this was worked really well. Now I'm going to actually shuttle the 2 coins over, but try to make it look the same as I did before. And the nice thing about this is I always have the Chinese coin or whatever coin is the duplicate in finger palm. You're finger palming the same coin every time. So there's nothing to think about. There's no switching. It's just very straightforward. This time I'm now going to hold back in this hand the Chinese coin and just throw over the silver coin and say, let's do it different this time. And I like this move here because you can hold out in a Ramsey subtlety and go, let's do something different. And that's an open hand, right? That is an empty hand, especially if you have no tension and you're just like, let's do something different. Let's take out the silver coin this time. Okay? And I take the silver coin and put it in my pocket. And this is where the PMS comes in handy because I have so many little pockets there. Boom, I just put it in those pockets. It didn't clink. I go, how many are in there? And you're like, boom, none, right? You're like, oh, let's do a card trick. How about a card? You like card tricks? Or somebody buy me a beer. I'm getting tired. You know, whatever you say. So that is in general. I have one more coin here. Now, the other...
Marvelous.
Pardon me?
Marvelous.
The one thing, the little tip I want to give you is the first time we do it, we're going to throw the coins over, holding out here. I've got it in finger palm. They all 3 go over. I take out 1. This is phase 1. It goes into my pocket. Okay? Now, if right now I said, Rosemary, how many coins are in my hand? And you go 2, the trick is over at this point. I'm going to ditch the single coin in my hand, come out empty, and go, yeah, you're really good. You must have seen this before. I'm just going to fast forward to the end. Because if she's not saying 1, okay, she already either has seen this trick, knows what's happening, or she's not playing along with me. And so I have to change the script.
Hate that girl.
Right? I have to change the script on. I go, yeah, you know, you're right. It's 2. Wow, you're a lot smarter than most of the people I show this trick to. And that'll get a laugh or something. And I go, okay, let's do it different. This time I'm going to take out the silver coin. Okay, Rosemary, how many coins now are in my pocket, in my hand? And she says, 1, 2, whatever. Let's do a card trick. That would be a lot better. Right? And so what's happened is, though she thought she was ahead of me, and I'm only saying she because, you know, I'm using Rosemary as my spectator. But what's happening is I am listening to what she's saying and reacting to it and changing my routine accordingly so that I am still ahead of her thinking. Not necessarily 1 ahead, but ahead of her thinking.
And Steve, I really like that you said, you're really picking this up quick when you have to fast forward, rather than any other less kind thing that you could say to a spectator of that sort.
You. God, why are you saying?
I think that there is a certain amount of inertia we all have to break in doing magic. You know, a lot of people have a lot of thoughts about what magic is and what it should be, or that really, we are really held to account.
Steve, you should tilt your screen up so we can see your face.
Let me sit down for a second. I'll switch back for a second. Hold on. I'm going to pull in Alexander Schlemmer here and go back to this camera. All right. So I think we are being held to account by the last magician they saw. Okay. And so if they saw, Aaron Fisher and you're doing a card trick, you're probably in an uphill battle. Okay. But if they saw Uncle Bob who does the one coin trick from behind the ear, you're probably, one up on them. Right. So that's kind of like the general thing. So I like to have the script loose. So if you're in my script, then we're going to go the way it goes. But if you're not, I'm going to switch it and go right to the end.
Steve, remember how Sean was saying that he found out David Williamson likes to do the two surprise method for the not two surprise method, but the 2-card trick when he's got a challenge situation?
Right.
It's just 2 evil, nasty surprises and there's no way out. There's no wiggle room. There's no, extended sequence for them to mess with. It's just,
Yeah.
That's it, right? And so it's a total, like you said, tempo changer. Well, what basically happens here is if anyone starts to mess with your tempo in the slightest, you immediately shift directly to a very similar structured routine.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. That is cool. Let me start everybody's cameras. Sorry about that. I literally had to stop everyone's cameras because let me see here. Here we go.
That was great. That was so great. I forgot that last touch on Steve on taking the multiple out and
I know.
getting right to this nice sucker ending if they happen to be Tricky Ricky.
It is really good, Steve.
There's so many good things about this routine. I mean, this is like a workhorse for me. I always have it with me and it never fails. Never,
Yeah. You not only that, you've got, you can really tell when you watch, like there's 2 kinds of magicians. There's magicians who will show you tricks that they never do. They'll teach you tricks they never do for anyone, and then there's magicians who show you their actual material. And the thing about this, you can really feel is that this is your actual material. You've thought about all like the real world circumstances which surrounds it. And I love that about this. I always feel like when you show us these pieces that we're getting stuff that, you've worked out at over 15 years or, doing this stuff. So it's really, really cool, man.
Yeah. And the little touches come from being like caught out under fire. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
It's like, that's how you learn hard lessons, and make good decisions about what to do next, when you're working for the big wigs and you get caught out or something, But I recommend this to everyone. The other thing I like about this a lot is it's just regular coins, So it's just, you can have multiple sets everywhere. So every close-up bag, I'll go into suits I haven't worn in a while and this will be in the pocket. You know what I mean? There'll be a setup in the pocket and you can have multiples all over the place. And I love that.
So Steve, having said that, do you have another solution other than that little wallet, the PMS thing you were speaking of? So that since you have it in all these different suits, do you use a different method?
Well, I'll be honest with you. I've stopped having that in my pocket now. Okay. Since I don't know how old that video is. I mean, I still have it and I use it to store stuff in my close-up case, but I do not put it in my pocket.
Okay.
Just because it makes a lump.
Uh-huh. And how do you handle all that now? How do you deal with the sound?
I go old school. Okay. So I have a handkerchief.
Great.
And I just fold the handkerchief up with the folds down. So it essentially makes the little things anyway. And it's a smallish handkerchief that I found. It might actually be a lady's handkerchief, a little bit smaller. And then I just have that in my pocket and then I just shove it into the folds and then that stops it. And it doesn't, I was carrying a lot of extra stuff in that PMS holder that I never used.
Okay.
Like I had a set of Morgans for that thing I did. I do like a Troy Hoosier routine. I had a different set for that in there. And I just decided, you know what, I'm not even doing these things. I'm just carrying them around. So we got to tighten it up,
Mm-hmm.
Before you did this routine, did you do the classic hopping half, gaffed hopping half version?
Well, I used to work in a magic store, when I was probably 15 to maybe 19 or 20.
Right.
And so I had a hopping half routine there. It was in a flea market with like tons of raw layman traffic, and the hopping half for a while was my come on to get people to step up and buy a ball and base or something,
That's funny.
You know what I mean? That was like my thing.
Yeah.
So did you break in this routine there to keep yourself occupied, or was it after?
No, this came much later than that. And I'm just always looking for economy, right? So I have another 2-coin routine, like a Troy Hoosier 2-coin that these 2 coins will work for. And then I have a 1-coin routine. So that means if I carry 3 coins, I have 3 coin routines, and that is way more than enough.
That's right.
You know, and then I have a deck, I have that, and a few other assorted things that I think I've, you know, showed around quite a bit. And
So-
those things are just, you know, economy of motion.
Steve,
Yeah,
I
so-
really think that routine is so perfect. It's like the simplest. I would carry that around with me every day too. I think I might actually start carrying it around with me every day too.
You know, I gotta say too, I love the classic gaff topping half. Like, it is one of my favorites. And I never worked in a magic shop. I think might be the only one here today. Sean, did you ever work in a magic shop?
Kind of. I did like some of their events behind there. Like, I didn't work like a steady gig there.
Right. Okay. Well, I take that back. I worked one day at the Hollywood Magic, and they didn't invite me back. So not sure to this day. I'm not sure what I did wrong, but you
They
know,
had livestock, you know, that might have been your downfall.
it might have. Yeah, it might have. But the thing about the I think you know, when we talk about the classic hopping half, the thing about it that attracts people to the gaff version, and the reason why I think we always talk about it when you're getting into Magic is because of, you know, it's sort of like is the ultimate gaff set too. You know, you get a copper shell, you get a $50 shell, you get a sun and moon coin. So there's like it's almost like it is a great starter kit for.
Yeah, it's versatile.
It really is. Yeah, it is. So, but the thing about, you know, that I love about this is that with this routine, you could borrow, you know, if you had to do it this way, you could borrow a handful of change, and you could use a quarter and a nickel if you needed to, or 2 nickels, you know.
You could use 3 quarters to do this. You know, the coins don't necessarily have to not match. Have to
That's
be, you know,
that's true. I didn't even
just
think
use
about
them
that.
the same.
Right.
Here's what really attracted me to this and made this something that I just continually worked on, is that I like to be very loose. I never like to have any guarded moments, right? So, because I think, like, you know, we've all seen that guarded moment. Sometimes there'll be a moment where they have to make sure no one's looking over their shoulder, or do I have it right? Or, you know, there's always that moment sometimes. And what I like about this is when you extend these coins out like this, and you're just like that, if someone picked that up, you don't even have to flinch, right? They can just pick it up. And there's been times when people will do silly stuff, and it's usually ladies, where they'll take the coin and go, oh, make it disappear and come back, or some nonsense like that. And not want to give you the coin back, right? So what I do in those situations, I just move into my 2-coin routine it's like a Troy Hoosier handling of a 2-coin routine. I just move right into that because they have no idea what I was going to do anyway. And then all of a sudden it kind of diffuses her, and then eventually she'll give it back or not. And if she doesn't, I don't really care, because this is 50 cents or whatever, you know, it doesn't mean anything to me.
Yeah,
So-
somebody who just started in Magic, like, put in that same situation, may freeze and not know what to do. Like, what do I do if a spectator gives me problems?
Yeah.
You know, it
I
comes up a lot, like how you deal with hecklers.
Yeah.
But I love that you don't deal with hecklers. You just have a plan to move forward.
Yeah, I mean, I think anyone who has a heckler, the plan is always to diffuse them as quickly as possible. You don't want to get into a back and forth or anything like that. You just want to diffuse it, you know, and so that's what I always try to do.
You guys remember Keith Fields wrote a book on hecklers, and the last appendix of the book is filled with the lines. It's got lines, but 2/3 of the book is about how to make sure you never have to use the lines.
Mhm.
To actually get to the part, I mean, it's all packed into several pages. There's 100 just, you know, really funny, wonderful lines. But the entirety of the book is about how you should never, ever end up using those lines, because there's about 1,000 things that can happen before you're ever brought to the point where you actually say something that actually, you know, because if you get it wrong, if you go too early, we've all done it. We've all had that line at the ready. We got beat up one night by the audience. We vowed that would never happen again. So we loaded a couple silver bullets into our pack. Then we went out, and then we were a little trigger happy. and what ended up being perceived by the audience as a good-natured participation, which you are in a heightened sense, perhaps feeling a little defensive. You feel like perhaps it's a heckle, or maybe it is stage one and you already see it going and you just have lost your patience or whatever. And then you lay it out there. And if you get ahead of your skis, if you get ahead of the audience, it really turns your whole show into garbage in front of your eyes and you can't get it right.
You could lose the room.
Yeah. So, and it happens fast and it happens hard. So, you know, the better those heckler lines are, the more double-edged they are, the more there's blowback involved. So, yeah. Steve.
I was going to tell you a line I've used many times before, which has worked really, really well. Let's say Alex hired me. Okay. And he's sitting somewhere around the front, right? And someone is heckling, right? And I'll say like, oh yeah, hey, I'm so glad you're having a good time. Hey, Alex, can you do me a favor? Can you go take him a drink on me? Hey, that drink's on me, even though it's open bar. You know what I mean? It's like, hey, take him a drink on me, good sir. Glad you're having a good time. And you move on with the show. And that just tamps it down right there, because what I just did was I told the guy who hired me to go tell that guy to shut up. Right. So when he goes over there, he's going to go, hey, Aaron, can you shut up? I mean, everyone's like, it's the boss going to tell him. You know what I mean?
Clear, that's not after the heckler line. That's instead of the heckler
Yes, line. It is instead of the heckler line. And then if he was to come back again, now it's open season, right? You can take a shot if you want to, but I generally don't.
That's awesome.
Do you happen to, we have a couple good questions here, but we're having some pretty hilarity is ensuing. And I think it's probably worth sharing since Newell was there and is here. Mm-hmm. So this is just a quick story in the LA days. You know, Jonathan Neal Brown used to work a day or two in the magic shop a week. He's one of the greatest magicians in the universe. Newell was hanging out in the magic shop. We had buddies hanging out in the magic shop. I, like Steve worked in a flea market. I worked at Magic Masters growing up, where I used to pitch hopping halves and all the classics. And if you watch things like our thumb tip training, Silk Vanish training, that's all the exact training I learned as a boy, and then realized how well structured it was when I grew up, right? So it's all from that time period. So when Adam and I were kicking around in the 2000s, we thought it would be fun to keep our chops sharp by demoing a day a week and having some fun in the store. And neither of us, you know, traditionally at a magic store, they're very, very wary about hiring a new demo guy who's more interested in doing magic than selling magic at a magic store. It's one of the things a magic retailer in the brick and mortar days had to be aware of. I was checked out on selling magic from being as a demo guy from my earliest training, like Steve. That's what we learned how to do first. So I didn't want to go in there to jam with the guys. I wanted to go sell magic and just participate with the team. So the manager, Jeff, was happy to have Adam and I. He recognized that we would be a lot of fun to have around and we'd sell a lot of magic. And they had us come in for a day, and we worked the day behind the counter. We sold a lot of magic. We pitched. And as Newell remembers, the end of the day, their manager, the manager, the boss, told the manager that we couldn't come back because I was wearing Birkenstocks. Behind the counter, you know.
You weren't allowed to come back if you didn't wear them again? You just
No, I was not allowed to come back because I was wearing inappropriate attire for being in LA.
You're not taking this very serious, man.
Right. Behind the glass counter, pitching tricks at the magic store, pitching, color changing, coloring books, magic coloring books. Yeah, I mean, hopping halves. I mean, it's the stuff you want to stay in stroke on because it's wonderful stuff and it keeps you connected to the core of it. Because when you're behind the counter doing magic, it's a great apprenticeship, because in order to sell magic, you have to sell magic. You have to put magic over. It's a great way to learn how to do close-up magic 8 hours a day. And it was the kind of job that we would have loved to have. So Adam got told he couldn't come back because he was having cigarettes at break time.
Too many cigarette breaks. Well, look, I think one every 10 minutes is not unreasonable.
5 an hour. What's the big deal?
Yeah. So this was fun. So one day I got to work with Newell. And it was so sad that we missed the chance, right? Did you answer that question for Mayor? Hey, how old are you, Mayor? I'm just curious. Where do you live?
remember Greg. I remember working with that guy a bunch.
Greg St. Pierre, right?
Yeah, he was an interesting cat.
He created a world where you guys got to understand, Hollywood Magic was a great old magic shop. It was around for
Right.
a long time.
One of the legendary magic shops, totally.
Well, we didn't stop being friends, Newell, of course, and that's why we were friends. And when Newell joined the club, it was such a treat for us all because I knew that the members would have a chance to have access to Newell's big brain, which had been, not only one of my secret weapons, being a buddy of Newell's, but a lot of people's secret weapons. But Greg St. Pierre took that Hollywood Magic, which I think belonged to his dad, who loved the business, I think, right. And basically created, with the environment he put into that store, the entire possibility for Hollywood's Magic Apple to be in existence. Because Hollywood Magic was the place where you weren't allowed to hang out. You weren't allowed to shoot the bull with the guys and do what magic stores do. And so all Brent Gareth had to do in North Hollywood was allow magicians to be welcome at the store. Right? And, unlike the Magic Castle, where you have to pay membership and dress up in a tie, and unlike Hollywood Magic, which had this magicians in the store are considered loitering policy, made it possible for there to be a flourishing magic community in the new magic shop over the hill there in Los Angeles. Absolutely astonishing. Steve, I legitimately think I remember people had put together ungaffed hopping halves in the day. I remember Jamie Swiss had an ungaffed hopping half in the day. And I don't remember how it works, but I just know with certitude that the method that you have taught is exponentially easier, more practical, more elegant. Maybe Sean remembers the other one that I'm talking about and can agree with me. I'm sure of it, though. I mean, there's not a chance. I mean, this is streamlined. It's so good. I'm going to put it in my pocket and carry it around instead of whatever shenanigans I've been kicking around with my silver dollars for months. I think I like this better. I think it's just so good.
It's just a real working man's effect too,
It's a bit like, have you noticed that a lot of these magic tricks, there's very similar plots across all of the props, right? So there's a trick called the homing card, or the 6-card repeat, where you've got 6 cards, you take 3 away, and now there's 6 cards. Or you have the homing card is where you have 5 cards. We can see Caps do it. Maybe one day we'll have a watch party and watch Caps do the homing card, where you've got the 5 cards. You take 1 away, and now you still have the 5 cards. Or if you look at the way Williamson did it, the old 3-card trick, which has 4 cards. I'm sorry, I made a mistake. It's the 3-card trick using 1, 2, 3, 4 cards. 4 cards. I'm sorry, I don't know what happened there. There's 3 cards in the 3-card trick. Watch 1, 2, 3, 4 cards, and it goes on and on and on. It's the same basic effect. If you think about it, slightly different presentation. I have 2 coins. I'm going to place 1 in my pocket and do the 1 coin with 2 coins. Sorry, it's a 1 coin trick. I'm going to place 1 and put it in my pocket, and I have 2 coins. It's the same basic plot, but what Steve has done, and especially by suggesting to us that it doesn't matter what coins they are, what color they are, you literally can take this effect and build it up as much as any of those other effects. And it's got that pat ending too. So Steve, have you ever experimented with playing with any of those other presentational gambits and seeing if it can be played up even further or longer?
So this has had so many versions and so many routines and so many different ways I've tried it because I've done it for so long, Lately, what I've been doing is maybe I'll hit somebody on the second pass through the room. So I've met them at the cocktail hour. I've done a set for them, and so like we're friends now, and maybe I'll be coming back through the room and they'll flag me over and want to see something else. And so to enter that group, I'll always say, well, do you guys want to just see something I'm kind of working on? I don't have it all worked out, but I mean, do you want to just see something I'm just trying out, And they'll be like, oh, yeah, absolutely. Because now they're thinking, hey, I fooled him really bad with my first set, Now they're like, oh, it's something he's trying out. We're going to have a chance now. That's like kind of what they're thinking. And then I go into this, right? And I'm like, hey, I put 1 in my pocket. And then, oh, yeah, see, I told you I was just working on. There's just 2 left. There's still 2 left. I'm just working on this. And then you go into it and then they finally vanish in the end. And that's when they look at you like, you got me again. Like you led me down the garden path. That's when they realized that the whole thing was just, you were just leading them down the path. And yeah, I think you're right, Aaron. That's a really insightful thing, because I never thought about that. It is 6-card repeat with coins.
Well, I just wonder, like, because when you said 2 coins could be the same, right? I thought, well, 2 in the hand, 1 in the pocket, right?
Yeah.
It's really 1 in the hand, 1 in the pocket. It's really like taking a 3-cup routine and turning it into a 1-cup routine.
Yeah.
Or taking the 4-card, 3-card trick and turning it into a 1 and 2-card trick, right? I'm going to use 1 card. Oh, I have 2. Oh, I have 2.
Yeah.
Oh, or taking, and with the coins now, it's basically just stripping down 2 in the hand, 1 in the pocket to just 1 coin. And the extra one keeps showing up.
Here's what I think is really good about it, is the fact that it's very simple to follow. So it's not a bunch of stuff, multi-phases. What are we doing now? It's pretty much always the same until the coins vanish in the end. It's about 3 phases, possibly 4 if you want to go 4, which is what I think I did in that video. But it's just very straightforward and easy for people to follow. And I think that's what makes it so strong in the end, because they feel like they're with you, the whole way. And then boom, you hit them in the end with nothing in your hand. And sometimes I will come out with a deck right there. So what I'll do is I've been doing that. I don't know, I did that. I've been working on that kind of on and off. But what'll happen is I'll have the hand out, or I kind of steal it from my left back pocket, and then I'm just kind of palming it down. Like, I don't have a box here, but I'm just kind of palming the deck down, and I'm wearing a sport coat. And sometimes I also deliver it down the sleeve of the sport coat. But at any rate, when I'll just turn it over, and there'll just be a deck of cards in a box in my hand. Hey, let's just do a card trick. And that's coming from nowhere, and that's pretty good. But what that doesn't do is it doesn't allow you to just end there and move out and move on. Right? Because now you have to go into the card trick. So I don't really do that all the time, because sometimes I like to just hit them with that and go, hey man, those folks have been calling me for half an hour. I got to jump over there.
Steve, this particular trick, yesterday we were talking about deck switches.
Mm-hmm.
To me, when I was doing a lot of walk around, the hopping half and your version, I used the actual gaffed coins.
Mm-hmm.
But to me, because I had primarily a card act, right?
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
So to me, this trick would be the kind of trick you would just build in an ad hoc deck switch,
mm-hmm.
right? I would literally say, "Ooh, I want to show you something here," and I would go into this interlude, and then when I would come back, I would take out the cards, and they'd be a different deck. Again, you could pull them out of a different pocket at the end of that trick. No one's going to realize what pocket they come out of, and so you have a perfect misdirection-based deck switch, which requires no planning, no effort, no thought. It's an interlude. You could do it in the middle of an ambitious card routine. You could say the card comes to the top, it comes to the top. Actually, I'm going to have you sign it here. Hold on a second. Little interlude, palette cleanser. Let's play a little game, check your observation. Okay, now I had a pen. You're going to sign the card. Now you got your Daryl Gaff out there. You're ready to go with whatever you want.
Right.
There's no reason you can't put drums in the middle of that big long song. Think of it like a nice percussion set in the middle of that big rock and roll number.
Mm-hmm.
Everybody needs a fill, man.
That drum solo, like there's room for it. Those effects are not harmed by that, right? So I'm like Steve, I don't like to tie myself down unless I'm in a formal situation where I must. If it's a formal close-up, 10 minutes, 20 minutes, Magic Castle, big convention, something like that. Anytime it's really doing close-up magic, I want to groove in the moment. And therefore, I'm going to choose a switch where I don't have to decide to do it until it's time to do it.
Mm-hmm.
In the middle of a trick even. You know what I mean? No problem at all. So to me, this trick is just perfect because not only is it wonderful, practical, easy, so much easier to remember. I swear I remember other versions of the ungaffed topic half. I think Newell does too. Newell, this is a heck of a lot more sensible than the other ungaffed hopping halves that you've seen, isn't it? I'm positive. I've never seen it so streamlined. I can remember how to do it.
Yeah.
I remember seeing one that had all these throw-offs because the sleights weren't as nice, and it was relying on the fact that the guy had a wedding ring and he would come in and tap the ring in his hand to pretend it was a coin, and it was just all kinds of nonsense. But I think what Steve's brought here is just, it's clean. There's coins. Close my hand, put one in my pocket. It's as simple as can be. Yeah. And like you said, you're doing the same exact thing every single time, so it's a child could follow it. It's as good as it gets for a magic trick, right?
Or a highly drunk person.
Or a highly drunk person.
There's a
Right.
question I tagged I wanted to answer there. Rich, you want to know what flea market was it in New Jersey? And boy, that's really hard because I kind of can see it, but I don't remember exactly where it is. It was in Sayreville, New Jersey. And it was maybe Route 18, but I remember the guy who ran it was named, are you ready? His real name, Bobby Guile. Guile. You know
That's
what
the
Guile
name you
is?
want to change, right?
Yeah.
That's why you want to change a name. That's the kind of name like a bad magician like uses as a stage name and thinks it's good.
Yeah, exactly.
Right? It's like Eddie Shenanigans magic show.
Yeah. And just about every other week, instead of getting paid, I was allowed to just take something because he didn't have any money. You know, you can pick something out. I don't have any money to pay you. I know you stood here for 14 hours this weekend, but I don't have any money. So just pick something, you know.
I think Sproul is down to do a session after the show today. I'm curious, is that correct? Yes. Are Sproul, are you gonna have one? Yes, he is. Okay, good. So you guys, if you guys want to hang out and move into a jam session over at Sproul's house, we can do it. He just put the link right in chat. I'd like to ask, out of you guys that are here today, guys and girls, how many of you think that it would be good to have some hot seat feed-based type sessions in the afternoon like this? Like feedback. What did I say?
Well, Richard Dean had asked about doing a 3M session, the hot seat session, which is the idea is it can be a move you're working on, it can be a 3M move, it can be a control you're working on, or a trick that you're playing with, or anything that you could use a little bit of friendly hands-on instruction, the kind of thing that people pay bunches of money to do privately, right? With coaches here. But as long as you're open to getting hands-on help in a social way, so everyone can learn while we're working together. Anyone who's done it before can tell you it's a real peaceful experience. We're just talking about getting the stuff in your hands so that we can really work with you in real time, right? Anything goes. We would just have to have you sign up in advance, a few days in advance, so that we would know that we'd be able to actually know who is going to be there, because we don't want to pop on when it's time to do the show and wonder if anyone signed up or if the people who signed up are going to be here.
Let's be honest, no one's going anywhere for at least a couple of weeks. So, it might be a good time to do it, right? Like, what's your, Lauren, what's your schedule on Tuesday look like? Gonna be home.
Kind of open.
That's right. All right. Well,
why don't we try one of those next week? Why don't we try one of those? Why don't we make it Thursday? Adam, if you can find the member mastermind link, right? Do us a favor, type member mastermind in one of the, not mastermind, but type, Thursday.
Hot seat.
Thursday afternoon. Just type Thursday afternoon, right? So we know when we go into that sheet, because it's the member mastermind sheet. We want to be able to be clear on it. And we'll take the first 6 or 4 or 5, 6 guys that we get. But just realize that if we're going to do 6 folks, we're going to have to be targeted and give you what we can do in that time period, because we don't want to leave people hanging. If you do get left hanging, say 12 people sign up, we will bump that to the next Thursday. Does that make sense, Adam, and sound fair?
yeah. So here's the link right there. Click that link. So that link I just put is not the Michael Sproul session going on right now. That link I just put is a member mastermind sign up. And if you'd like to sign up to do Thursday, maybe next Thursday, a daytime member mastermind, go ahead and fill that out. And in the notes, just put that it's for Thursday. Okay. Because this is the same sheet we use for the Wednesday night member mastermind. Just put a note in there that says this is for the Thursday daytime one, and we will get you on the schedule. That sounds good.
Yeah, and just to let everybody know, we may share some of these bonus sessions we're doing with quarantine magicians around. It's a nice way our club can be supportive of the world. We're doing in 2 weeks the amount of sessions that we normally do in a month, based on people's availability. So we're really trying to have this community be the kind of community we're all proud of. And so we are supporting magicians around the world right now who are all kind of in the same boat. So y'all are getting the very best of it, but it's a lot easier for us to make these afternoon sessions available if we actually put them in the YouTube subscription channel so people can access them quickly. It allows us to make it. There's a whole process that is involved in taking one of our live events and turning it into an on-demand backroom show for you that you would never even guess or imagine unless you're stuck in the web universe like we are. And it would take, actually, it takes longer man hours wise than you would ever imagine. It's easier to do the show than it is to put up the show. So we get to kill two birds with one stone by hosting it on YouTube. We can make it available to you to watch later. And we can also at the same time let folks on the outside take a look at some of the fun we're having and hopefully realize the extent to which it's more fun inside, which we all know. So thank you for supporting us as we support you. And that's really just so you understand how it's all working and what's going on. Okay.
Yeah. We'd like to thank you guys showing up today, Thursday afternoon delight. Is that what we're calling it? Afternoon delights. Today's session with Steve Barcelona on the No Gaff Hopping Half. Awesome. We're so glad you guys were here. Throw that link up, Sproul, throw that link one more time up into chat so everybody can join your jam session, which is starting right now. And there you go. There it is. So go ahead and click that little link there and join Sproul's jam session. And we will see you guys on Monday or Tuesday for the next afternoon session. All right. Everybody good? Good.
Richard Dean, you have to go grab that link and you have to go sign up. It's never going to work the other way. I wish calling dibs was going to work, but there's just so much going around. We're just going to have to sign up on the forum.